Okay, everyone, we're going to call the September 18th, 2024 Lake Commission meeting to order. Thank you for coming. And the world is ruled by those who show up. All right, so you're all on camera, so smile. We're going to record this, and you'll be able to review it afterwards, of course, through Shrewsbury Media Connection. Shrewsbury Media Connection also has a channel on YouTube, so you can watch that there if you want. First thing we're going to review and act on the acceptance of the July 2024 meeting minutes. Has everyone got a chance to peruse those?
Make a motion, we approve.
Second the motion?
Second.
We have a quorum? We have a quorum, right?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so voted. And then review and approve of bills and expenses.
I have got no bills and expenses this month.
Okay. What about the commission? Okay, so I guess that's good news. I sent one along to Jessica. So, and then we're going to go into commissioners' reports. We'll start with you, Mr. Piker.
Nothing specific, Mr. Chair. Basically, let me just say that the sentiment I'm hearing from abutters in terms of people's conduct on the lake is generally that things are much better. And let me just leave it at that for now.
Okay,
Yeah,
short and sweet.
yeah.
See? Okay, we'll go on to Shrewsbury Police. Which one of you fine gentlemen want to?
I'll start it off.
Okay.
So our boat and our jet ski are for emergency deployment only as of right now. We stopped our regular patrols just after Labor Day. The lake has calmed down as far as traffic in the lake.
Thanks, sir.
So I will steal Officer Shroutland's thunder. He does a fantastic job on the lake itself, and then he also prepares a stat report, just to give everyone an idea of kind of the things that we deal with, and our numbers for, kind of broken down to show our activity. The August and September has slowed down just a bit, still with a total of 125 incidents. Total incidents for the year from May, starting in May, was 645. And then these two sheets here kind of break it down as to what we're dealing with on a daily basis. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think overall, with all the agencies and all the officers that were full-time on the lake this year, I think we ran right out the gate right in May and continued with it. The numbers definitely show. We did see a drastic decrease in August with lake activity of non-residents. And we actually, it was a decent August, so I don't know if that's just tired of being on the lake after June and July, or if our work is finally getting around to the general public. But it was overall a good year. July was definitely our busiest. And as these numbers state, we had a lot of incidents this year.
All right. Is that it?
I was just going to note that I think our jet ski this year has really done a great job, at least deterring a lot of activity, because they know we can get access to all parts of the lake now. That to us has been a huge asset. So I was super happy with it. I thought the guys really enjoyed it as well, kind of a change of pace. So
Yeah,
we're looking forward to getting that in more full swing next year even.
Worcester's small boat being in Flint Pond was
Yeah.
probably the biggest game changer. That hopefully that can be back next summer.
Yeah, I concur with everything you said and with what Mike said as well, that you know, it's been a noticeable difference out there in a positive way. And I believe, you know, you covered basically everything that I saw as, you know, to me, it was a kind of a three-prong or four-prong thing. All four agencies, or there were four agencies on there, you know, patrolling the lake at any given time. And, you know, the fact that we had increased enforcement in the main boats out there was a big thing. People got the message that, you know, all right, you know, you're gonna, you know, no more happy talk. We're gonna do what we need to do to tamp this down.
Exactly.
The jet ski, absolutely a key thing. And the Worcester boat, I can't say enough about, because I think, you know, I'm a big believer of, you know, stopping the leaks at the source. And I think Flint Pond and Oak Island were the source of a lot of our issues over there, because the jet skis could, you know, base there, camp out, and then comfortably, and then, you know, zip around to the other side of the lake and do what they can do, and then run for cover underneath the Stringer Dam, which they couldn't do anymore. And I know that, you know, that Officer Child at least chased one guy right to the Stringer Dam, and so they didn't get under there, but,
Right.
so sometimes they didn't make it. It didn't make it underneath the dam, but, you know, it still was a key thing out there. So, I agree, with Tim that I hope that comes back next year. Because that was a key thing. I know sometimes
The
those
plan
guys-
is to have both of them back out there again.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like they were, you know, they were kind of bored. Some days they're kind of just putting around and around, you know, because Flint Pond's not too exciting
Yep.
if you keep going around the same circle. But the other thing I thought was good too is that they really went over to the other side. They went over to Round Pond as well. And they're over there, because that's another area of complaints. We've got a lot good, when they come under the Stringer Dam, you know, that's a nice straight little run that they just zip through and go crazy. So that, they stopped a lot of activity over there too. So that was also helpful. So, thank you all very much for all of the efforts you put in over there. Lieutenant Vitos, is the jet ski lift all straightened out?
It's not assembled, but it is, we have it under control. We're actually,
Got it fixed?
yes, we're in the midst of also putting in a hoist to just get it out of the water, so Officer Shaw had to jump in full uniform to get it out to this year, and trying to alleviate that. So we're gonna
Did
put
they get the lift out?
Yeah, we have it on bunks. So I have a great picture of them if I'll share it.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to put that up on the
It was
webpage.
just sitting there broken forever, and I just said, finally, I'm jumping in, and jumped in and pulled it out myself.
Yeah,
Just
it worked
happened to
out well.
ruin a uniform to do it, but it's out.
All right, well, maybe next year we can put, you know, wetsuits
Yeah.
and the, you know, with all the badges on them and stuff on the.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
we're still working out it's still a bit of a learning curve with the jet ski as far as uniform, hours of operation and stuff for us, so it was kind of a learning curve for us logistics wise, but,
Right.
I think we kind of ironed it out.
One second, Mike. The only thing I would like to see is that next year is that we get, you know, all the buoys out that we can. The safety buoys at the end of Suntag and the entrance to Half Moon Cove, and the two no-wake buoys and Flint Pond on either side of the bridge. It's supposed to be, there were buoys there. I don't know what happened. There was a sign on both sides of that bridge, and one sign's gone now. I think there was graffiti on there, and it was close to the sign, and they took the sign off to paint over it.
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
It looks like the sign was legitimately taken off.
Yeah, I think it was
You
removed.
can see the outline of where.
Yeah, you can see, and you can see where the paint is, where they painted over whatever
Right.
I don't even know what I think we should just go up there and paint no wake. That would be helpful.
Yep.
It's a good solution.
Yeah, just tag it ourselves, I guess, or have DOT do it. But anyway, because the DOT controls the bridge, so. And so if we could do that, and maybe have a discussion at some point about putting, and I don't know how, because your folks were out there most of the time, but having a no-wake zone at Witch Rock Island, which is that little narrow piece that goes with the boathouse on it.
Okay.
Right in the other side of Flint Pond there. So, because that's also obstructed view, very, you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
The blue boathouse
Yeah.
that's halfway open
yeah,
all the time, yeah.
yeah. So, all right, but awesome, thank you so much, because all this phone calls. That's my-
Question, Mr. Chair. Relative to the stats that were given, I'd like to know what's that differentiates security checks 190 and vessel safety checks 131? What's the difference between those two?
So the security checks are more of like property-based, or like certain areas in the lake. Eagle Island, Route 9 Bridge, we do what's called a security check. So we're just looking for like suspicious activity, people that aren't supposed to be there or whatnot. The vessel checks are more of like a safety check to make sure they have the proper equipment.
All right,
That's
thank
the
you,
distinction.
thank you.
Is there anything I missed on that?
Nope.
Yeah, so it's, just really that's it. I mean,
Okay.
that's the
Thanks,
extent of
appreciate
it.
Okay. One last thing, Mike. Welcome back.
Yeah, so thank you. I looking forward to being a part of the meetings again.
All right, excellent, excellent. Any other questions on the board?
No, great job. Thank you, guys, with all the efforts. You could clearly see the difference.
And I should note too, I also want to thank personally Officer Charlin. He's done personally has done a fantastic job out there. Kind of has like a good zero tolerance mentality, and it's worked. So
Right, yeah,
it was needed.
Thank you very much.
It was time for a shift. So publicly, I'd like to thank Officer Charlin for that.
Appreciate it. But it's a group effort too. We have a lot of other guys that have been out when I'm not there that do.
oh, it's a
Great
free-for-all when you're not there.
Yeah,
So
we-
that's the
we
only time I
discussed
go
it.
out, in fact, if you're not
We
there.
discussed that the 2 weeks I took off in July.
Uh,
Comment from the audience, well done.
Thank you.
All right. Okay,
Worcester,
Mr. Polito.
Couple.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Do you have anything else?
Not much. I mean, right now the boats are still there.
Sorry, Ken.
We're actually gonna start pulling them out soon.
Yeah,
We're gonna leave the big boat out there, at least through all the regatta stuff.
Oh, good,
But the one in
thank you.
Flint Pond, I think they're gonna start pulling that out probably this week.
I thought it was out.
No,
No,
it's still there. It's still there. Yeah, one of the guys is actually gonna go there tomorrow and start prepping it to come out,
yeah.
so.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, they're still out there doing what they can, so.
Yeah. Well, please extend our thanks to Chris and,
Chris and Chris.
Chris and Chris. It's Chris, that's right.
It's two Chris's, yep.
Because they really did do a good job out there. And I think, some of the bonus of that is that people just didn't come back.
Right.
Yeah, they just kind of say, it's not any fun anymore, and they're cracking down, and so we got that.
When you can't set up beach chairs and coolers and all that stuff at Oak Island, they don't
Yeah,
come back. And
Yeah.
they know that they're there every day.
yeah.
That
So
that was huge.
that was huge, so really appreciate it. Sorry, Mr. Polito.
So we had a meeting with the Conservation Commission last night here. A couple items that came up. 101 North Quinsigamond, we have not, that's where the wall has failed.
Yep.
Not come back to us yet. They were issued a citation, they were issued enforcement orders, so the chase is on, I guess. So trying to get that resolved. I mean, we were hoping they would have come back to us this summer, get the order so they could repair the wall.
Right.
Drawdown, so that hasn't happened. The next item that we had was the OT came in to discuss the drain project going on Route 20, basically from 122 all the way down to where it enters into Flint Pond. There were a lot of questions asked. They do have to come back to us on the 15th of October. I did not see it in our packet, any comments from DEP. So I guess we're waiting to see what those comments would be as well. And, no, we did ask that they take out some of the sediments where the outfall is now. They said they would look into it, but there were no promises that would happen. And did ask what type of treatment they were going to do to the, at the outfall. Basically, they're going to have a settling basin. There was no other treatment, no other specialized chambers or anything to take sediments out of the discharge, what was proposed. So we asked that question too. So they'll be back, and we'll see what they come up with.
Okay. Thank you.
May I make a comment,
Sure.
Mr. Chair?
Of course.
I noticed from Katie Liming that we've got a brief here that says that the Lakes and Ponds Program is spearheading a project to install a particle separator in the stormwater drain on Suntag Road, which discharges into Half Moon Cove. This, I'm just reading it, this unit will remove trash, sediment, and some nutrients from the stormwater before it enters the lake. More details on this project will be available soon. You know, if we can get, if the Lakes and Ponds Program can work on a swirl separator for Suntag Road, you would think the city could work on something similar in terms of the runoff from Route 20 eventually that discharges behind what's called the Sears Plaza in this Flint Pond area. It's just a comment, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, it's not the city, it's the state.
All right.
So the state, and I asked,
The Route 20 project's the state.
and we did ask the question, can you install one of those separators, just as you had mentioned, and they said they didn't have the means to maintain it. So I don't know why they don't, but that was the answer that they gave us.
Okay. I'm not sure how to even respond to that answer. I didn't think we were,
No,
as a Commonwealth, was that destitute that they don't have a
With the
vac truck?
We also said that the Lake Commission has spent many thousands and thousands of dollars in time in trying to clean up the lake, and that we would hope that they would do everything they could to make sure what gets discharged is in, they do everything they can to take the sediment out.
Right. And, you know, from my perspective, it's that particular area right there is both a sensitive area and an area of concern because of the flow, especially in the off-season when the lake's a little bit lower. So, you know, that material that's there is not natural to Lake Quinsigamond. Right. So it got there somehow, and, you know, I don't think anyone, you know, dropped a 20-yard dump truck down there, so I'm assuming it came out, and it's right in front of the outfall, so it's pretty obvious to me where it's coming from. You know, I know that they did mention that, you know, they're not going to increase the volume of water going in there, but it is going to increase the, you know, it's going to come out, just come out faster. So.
Correct.
And this is, you know, from my perspective, I think it's good that we're doing something with the problem they're trying to solve. I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
So I don't have any problem with that part of it, but, you know, to take that and to dump it, you know, into, you know, it just seems to me at this point, you know, based on the meeting last night, that it's just kind of we're not thinking about where we're putting it. You know, we're just thinking about getting it out of our hair. So that's what we have to, I guess, advocate for, and we'll continue to do that. There is a meeting next Tuesday night, Gary?
Yep.
You know, 6:45?
6 o'clock,
6 o'clock.
up at Plantation Street at the District 3 headquarters.
All right. So I'm going to ask the watershed to put that up on the watershed page with the address and all that kind of stuff, so you have you know where to go. And, you know, I invite people to participate in there and you know, voice your concerns to the state. And I plan to attend. So, just so they understand the sensitivity of that particular area that, in my mind right now, that thing should be dredged, even if they weren't putting another outfall in there. Putting another one in there and just putting it, it's not gonna help the problem down there. And, we get thousands, we can't put a chemical in this lake without going through a more rigorous permitting process and getting permission. We can't just put stuff in there. I certainly could not dump material. And it's interesting to me that if you take material out of the lake, you have to define where it's going, right? You have to find out what's in it and define where it's going. So it seemed to me that it would be more important to do that when you're putting material in the lake.
They did say that they would ask the district if they would look at that sediment.
Right.
And perhaps if it's not part of this project, they would have another project come out to do that. I don't know.
Who knows, yeah.
That could be, maybe 20, 30 years from now.
I get it, it's all about money, but I just get the feeling that they weren't considering the whole scope of what they were doing and the impact of it. When they said, this is the project and this is how we define it, I guess my mind would be, well, the other issue with this too is that this problem is, at 122, has been decades.
Right.
I don't remember when it wasn't like that, right? So now we have to get it done because we have funding issues, and we're just going to rush it through after all this time, which seemed to be a simple solution because if they went to the easiest thing you could do is run another pipe through there and
Right.
get rid of it. So I don't understand the that part of it either. I think we're kind of.
Agreed.
Again, that's 6 PM next Tuesday, Mr. Chair, at the new DOT office off of Plantation Street, across from, near the parking garages. That's their new office in terms of the Department of Transportation, 6 PM next Tuesday. Do I got it right?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
have an address of 499 Plantation Parkway.
All right, cool. Is that it?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nelson?
Just two comments. The first, probably everybody here knows that the lake has gotten busy again with all the college crews out there rowing mornings and afternoon. Quite busier than it was during the summer. The second point is as some people here probably know, the Grafton Police Chief is retiring. I forget what date it is in September, and he has been there for 20 years and has strictly told, and the select board has agreed with it, that anything to do with Flint Pond and water activities was strictly the problem of the fire department, because he thought everything to do with water was safety. So I've spoken to the selectmen, and I haven't spoken to the new police chief yet, but we have to find out if he's going to be more willing to be more active on Flint Pond in the future. And so that's an ongoing discussion.
All right. Thank you. Is that it?
Yep.
Okay. So, my report, I guess, we've already talked about it, the lakes, it's been good this year. And, I think the behavior on the lake has been way better this year. It's still been a busy year. It's still been a really busy year. We still have a lot of boats out there running back and forth. I just think that, it was much more, I'm not gonna say controlled, but at least tamped down to people were acting much more appropriately on the lake. Even the loud music, all that, and I had a report from a resident that said that he went out to a boat and he had his dogs with him, and he kind of buzzed out to this boat that was just blasting the music on a beautiful stereo, because those sound systems are awesome. But we went over to the thing, and he said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And they turned down the music, and he goes, "Look," he goes, first I want to start off with the stereo is unbelievable. I'm kind of jealous, because the thing sounds really, really good, because it's really loud." He goes, "I live right over here, and, could you, just turn it down?" The guy goes, "Sure." And they literally turned it down, and off he went. So, maybe the sugar worked better than going over there and starting yelling at the people and turn that music down. So, good stories that at least, now people are kind of reacting in a more friendly interaction, friendly manner. That said, I got a call Wednesday of last week from a member of the Worcester Boat Club, and they had told me that they had just witnessed a incident that involved one of their boats, a woman's four, I think. I don't know if it was a woman's four or not, but it was a woman coxswain
Right.
in the boat.
Wednesday last week.
Yeah, Wednesday of last week. And, you know, the interaction basically was, it was a water skier going by the boat and a little too close to the boat. And by a little too close, I mean it was less than 150 feet away, which is where you're supposed to be going by one of those boats. So, you know, the coxswain was waving her arms at the boat as it was, I guess it was coming near them, because she felt the boat didn't see them. And the boat went by and the driver gave an inappropriate hand signal to the coxswain, and off they went. We identified who the owner of the boat was and kind of tracked it down, and she extended her sincerest apologies, because she was skiing at the time and not driving the boat, and she basically had said, please apologize to the coxswain profusely. That prompted me to go out a couple of days later. I've been out there a couple of days now, earlier in the morning to watch the activity out there. Unfortunately, the 2 days I went out there were no skiers on the water at that point, so I didn't really get to see that. But I did get to see some behavior with the, with the crew boats. And, it is busy out there, and the complaint I'm hearing from on the towing side, the rowers versus the towers here, is that, there's no viable place to go in the morning. Everyone's fighting for that 6:30 water out there. So when the boats are 3 abreast, 4 abreast sometimes, with, with the coaches' launches, they're basically know where you can go and be legal in a motorboat. So that's kind of an issue, because it's not fair. I understand, it's not, it's a few months out of the year, but it's a crucial few months, because it's the last few months you're going to be out there, especially at 6:30 in the morning, being able to ski. So, one other comment that I heard too is that one of the eights, and I'm going to say it was from Clark, was based on the oar colors, that it was that it kind of come in and boxed in a boat that was literally sitting there, like a ski boat that was sitting there with someone standing on the platform. So the boat wasn't underway. It was basically, I don't even know if it was turned on, but it was not moving, and they came right up to the back of it. It seems, according to the people in the power boat, that they literally changed course so they could go close to the boats. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what the report was. So, and this was also witnessed by someone who was rowing in the 8. It was said that the coach told them to change course and head for the boat. So he didn't say head for the boat, I guess, but he's changing course was obviously that's where they were headed. So that all said, I'm going to ask that, and we're going to keep them. I'm going to keep monitoring it, and we're going to keep an eye on this. But I'm going to ask that one, from the very top, that the inappropriate engagement and yelling and screaming and giving people the finger, all of that needs to stop. There's no place for it. It's just not going to be tolerated. Whatever anyone did, in this case, it was, it seemed like it was just, they were just there and in the way, isn't cause for that kind of behavior on either side. So that I'm gonna be adamant about. Second thing is, I'm hoping that we can figure out a way, to better, be better sharers out there, if you will, that you can, keep out. I noticed that people were rowing down the middle of the lake. There was people rowing too wide through Kings Point. When I was out there, there was, there was amplified noise, but it was after 7 a.m., so that was loud, I guess. But for all those things, I want the crew to understand that this lake is not just for that kind of practice. I understand, you kind of want to see what two boats rowing against each other, and it's that's just probably drills. But I'd prefer that that they try to stay to one side as much as possible and not take up the middle. Same thing with the skiers. You don't ski down the middle of the lake. Try to get to one side or out of the way, and try to avoid each other the best you can. If we can't do that and we keep getting calls and we keep noticing this behavior, then I guess we'll figure out other ways to manage it. So, with that said, I hope that gets the message through. Patrick?
We do have very specific rules and.
Please come up to the mic. Sorry.
The teams are provided with very specific rules and traffic patterns that address all the things that you've addressed. I'll resend it to all the coaches again today. And
I appreciate it. I didn't get a chance to reach out to you because I wanted more information about the particular rate I was talking about.
And you can go 3 across, but the coaching launch has to go behind. You have to stay to the right. And there's a whole map that tells people where they go, where they can turn, where they shouldn't turn.
Right.
I think clearly people need to be reminded, and that
And there were, and I will say this, the people from the Worcester Boat Club were largely following the rules out there. So I did notice that. That may have been because they recognized me when I was out there, but so I would appreciate that if it went down to the coaches that
I'll get that up tomorrow morning.
that two things: the engagement part and the try to stay out of the way as much as possible and respect the rights of the other
And
stakeholders.
We've also been very clear that if there is an incident, they're to call the Shrewsbury Police non-emergency line and let the police deal with it, not to interact with them.
Right. The other quick question I had for you too is I noticed that there, because we had come back and that it was supposed to be, the boats were supposed to be marked with identified, so we could tell which school they were from or who owned the boat.
The launches should be.
So just the launches and not the shells?
Correct.
All right. I thought it was the shells too.
No.
All right.
Some of the women's boats have them. There's an NCAA rule about it. So some of the women's boats do have school names on them, but the men's boats generally do not.
Okay.
But all the launches should have the names on the sides.
All right. Someday when we have more time, maybe in private, you can explain to me how come the women's boats have to be marked.
It's an NCAA rule, and
Not the-
NCAA is
not the
women,
men's.
not men.
That's kind of weird. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for your input. Thanks for your help.
Peter, I have a
Sure.
question on this. This is sort of tangential, but it's on this subject. I got an angry call from the coxswain of the 8 that the motorboat went so close to. She said she was going to give a call up and complain to the Shrewsbury Police Department, but she wondered if it was worthwhile. And she asked if I could definitely give her an answer whether or not the Shrewsbury Police Department did receive the call last Wednesday about, from this coxswain, about how upset she was that she was cut off by a motorboat.
They were.
Oh, good.
Officer Blas handled it. I just happened to be working day shift that day, and he actually called me in regards to the rules and regulations, and we did speak about it.
Okay, good. I just want to be able to answer it positively. That
Yes, we did.
You did receive it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And so I'm clear on this, and the challenge here with that kind of stuff is that literally, in order for an action or a ticket or something to be,
We have to visibly see it.
You have to
I mean, we
physically see
can,
it. That's
we
what-
can
that's what-
definitely
that's where I'm going.
stop and talk to them if we can positively identify, like, make, model, colors, or occupants, or if they give the MS number, we can definitely stop and talk to them and just, hey, let you know, these are the rules, let's not do that again. As far as citations or anything further than that, it doesn't need to really get to that, point, but as long as it's documented that we spoke to them, and then if it's a reoccurring issue, then it can be dealt with differently at a later point.
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
yes.
I know this is a kind of come to be almost a dirty word, but if people can't find themselves a way to courteously share the experience of the lake, in the state of Massachusetts, there are a lot of waterways that thus then regulate, okay? No wake zones, this is a recreation area, and if it continues to be such a problem, this commission may need to discuss regulation then in terms of where people might, besides the courtesy of Mr. Diggins talking about some rules that the rowers are aware of and to go by, we may have to, mandate them. That includes not just rowers, but people who might otherwise use the lake. Obviously, relative to previous discussions this commission has had in the recent past year in regards to the use of personal watercraft, it brings up a lot of feelings, but if there's a problem, we may have to look at some other ways then to better, again, regulate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. That's it for my report. Okay,
You want to do public participation? We have one for public participation today.
yes. Marguerite, come on up.
You can go either the podium or the table. Wasn't paying attention. Could I, hand you guys these?
Sure.
I think I brought enough this time, too.
There you go. Thank you.
This one right here? Do you want me to-
Either one.
I like- Hello?
Yes,
Hello.
perfect.
So my name is Marguerite Cormier. I've been boating on this lake since 1989 and have been a property owner on the lake since 1994. I'd like to thank the Lake Quinsigamond Commission board members and everyone else who could attend this meeting tonight in person and online to hear what I have to say. First, I want to thank the Lake Quinsigamond Commission again for listening to the public, forming a subcommittee, and coming up with great solutions. I want to thank all the patrolling police departments that inform bad actors on the lake that we see you. We will remove you from the lake if we have to. Great job. The proposed solutions are working. I agree with everything you all said earlier. I'm hoping to get an update on the proposed solutions regarding Lake Quinsigamond. I feel some of the solutions have not been met. For me, the biggest issue is the proper signage at the public boat ramp at 37 Tamarack Lane, Shrewsbury. In my opinion, this is the most active boat ramp where a lot of people are putting watercraft and jet skis of all types in, especially since you added the active police presence at Flint Pond and Oak Island on Route 20 boat ramp. I'm wondering when the signage may be going in. On the signage board where it is now, it's there, but it's very hard to read, and there's a picture on the back page. Watercraft users' concerns I have. I think that everything you're saying is absolutely working out great, but I think our problems right now still are between 4 p.m. and a little after sunset. We see some bad actors on watercrafts with no lights pushing the limit by not getting off the lake 1 hour before sunset. I feel at some point someone's going to get hurt if they haven't not already. Rule 19 says all craft not covered by state or federal regulations must carry and display appropriate lighting from sunset to sunrise, including at least one portable flashlight. So this should worry all of us for the 2025 boating season, because I know we're kind of coming to an end. My hopes. I hope and pray come early April 2025, when the boating season starts up, the police patrolling the lake is allowed to start in early April 2025 in full force, to let the bad actors know our lake is not a place to be reckless. In 2024, the word got out quickly. I feel we must keep it up very early in the beginning of 2025 boating season, and all boating seasons going forward that bad actors are not allowed. It certainly worked in 2024, actively giving out tickets and actively letting them know bad behavior is not acceptable on Lake Quinsigamond or Flint Pond. It's unfortunate to hear about the boat that sank on the north side of Route 9 Bridge. Rumor has it, from a very good source, a wake boat swamped it. I'm not sure if that's true. I'd like to know why it sunk. If the rumor's correct, I'd like to see a proposed subcommittee formed ASAP, like you did for the jet ski issue, that could have been a much worse catastrophe, I can't even say my own words, catastrophic outcome to the lake with all the gasoline and oil contaminants that went into the water, not to mention the thousands of dollars it cost the owner and community to resolve this terrible situation. Fast action was taken. Great job to the police and fire response to this very avoidable situation, if the rumor is correct. I believe it was mentioned when I asked what is the reason for Rule 31. Motorized boats or vessels of any nature exceeding 30 feet in length are prohibited from Lake Quinsigamond, does not apply to crew boats. I think the answer was because it makes a wake that is much too big for this lake. Now it's time, in my opinion, now it's time to update or add a new rule. Man-made wakes on a watercraft of any kind cannot exceed a certain height wake. What that size is, I do not know. A proposed subcommittee could help with that. I think we also have to have the proposed subcommittee look into damage we do not see going on the lake bottom as seen in the YouTube study, which circulated on the Lake Quinsigamond Watershed Association, but I did include a link. I believe no vessel over 30 feet on the lake was primarily due to the large wake they make. And someone here also mentioned that there's a 25-foot deep V-hull boat that comes on the lake that also makes a very big wake. But that doesn't fall under the rule category because it's not 30 feet. I think now we must revisit the size of wakes of any watercraft makes on the lake, and if it's exceeding a wake of a 30-foot boat. It seems it was known long ago these big wakes were not good for our size lake. Thanks for listening, and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you on the above proposed solutions, concerns. I hope, and I'm whatever, I can't talk. But I do have one last page. My concern, our most active boat ramp on North Lake Quinsigamond Ave, you cannot see the rules and regulations of the lake. See the picture. If you're going fishing, they're big and easy to read signs. But if you want to know the rules of the lake, nope, can barely see them unless you take a picture of them. This is a proposed solution. This was a proposed solution. I'm wondering when we can expect that. And just a suggestion, is it possible to put up a rules and regulations QR code that can be easily scanned for watercraft users to see, or put the rules and regulations in writing? I'd also like to see Rule 19 added somehow. Rule 19, all craft not covered by state or federal regulations must carry and display appropriate lighting from sunset to sunrise, including at least one portable flashlight. This may help inform the bad actors from getting injured or killed when another watercraft hits them. I feel it's only a matter of time. Now I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Marguerite. Okay, so Marguerite brought up a couple of things that made me think of something else that I wanted to mention about lights on boats. First thing, driving a jet ski, lit or not, after dark is illegal in Massachusetts. So jet skis can't be on the water after dark. When I was in discussions with the American Watercraft Association, I went to their website, and which was beautiful, and they were talking about some, really bad things that have happened to jet skis over the years. And one of them was that this jet ski was a 14-year-old boy was riding on a jet ski with someone else. Someone else was driving, an adult was driving, and a drunk driver in a boat hit the jet ski and killed the 14-year-old kid. So it was a tragic, tragic thing. As I read down the article, it was mentioned in the article that this happened at 10:30 at night. So the guy in the, I don't know what happened to the driver of the jet ski. The boat driver was arrested and charged duly. I'm not sure what the outcome of that was, but I hope that the guy in the jet ski was also arrested, because if he hadn't been out there at 10:30 at night, the 14-year-old kid would still be alive. So, or wouldn't have died from that. So there's that. Keep, your lights are very important. On the in the spirit of overlighting your boat, okay. If you are in a pontoon boat, and I'm singling out pontoon boats at this point because it's the only one I've seen out there doing this, but a lot of the pontoons have dock lights. The dock lights are for docking. They're not headlights. You shouldn't be riding around in them. And in fact, in Massachusetts, I believe you're not supposed to be underway with those lights on. Is that correct?
I've stopped every single boat that does it. It's one of my pet peeves on the lake.
Me too.
You're used to the darkness, and as soon as one of those
Yeah.
come near, you lose all your night vision.
Which
for
is
like
my
an hour.
point, is that it basically.
It's also a navigational hazard because they don't know what
Yeah,
direction you're going.
you can't see the
so-
green or.
Right, well,
over.
yeah, you don't know if they're coming or going.
Correct.
Right. So for those of you watching at home, and you have your dock lights in your pontoon boat, use them when you dock the boat, and don't use them while you're running, while you're underway, please. Okay, next thing I think on here is discuss and possibly act on regulations regarding, that's PWCs, that shouldn't be on there.
How about the
Regattas.
Snake regatta,
Snake
number
regatta.
7?
2 state regattas.
Yeah. Okay. So, does anyone want to tell us does everyone understand what the snake regatta, this is the approval permit. Ken, you do, because it's in front of your house.
Yep, I know exactly what it is. It's wonderful.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you just say your name
Yep.
for the record?
Yep, I'm Jason Steele. I'm with the Quinsigamond Rowing Association. And I am here to apply for 2 events, one on 10/5, that is the Quinsigamond Snake Regatta, which you were just talking about. And the other is on 10/26, which is called the 10/5, 10/26, the Wormtown Chase.
Okay. Are there ramp closures?
There would be ramp closures on those 2 days, yes.
Okay. And,
And they're generally half-day events, so just so you know, 3 p.m. is the end time on just looking here, the Snake is 3 p.m. and the Wormtown is 5 o'clock, but I believe the racing is over probably closer to 3.
all right, and this particular race is on the south, goes to the south.
Yeah, full length of the lake, so we've run these previously, and we start down by, I think it's Drake Island.
Yep.
And the proposal for this year is we're racing down the Worcester shore. We're launching out of the Donahue Rowing Center. We'd make our way up the Shrewsbury shore, swing around, and then race back down on the Worcester shore all the way to just shy of 290, and then come back to the DRC on the Shrewsbury shore.
Okay, so there's going to be a no-wake zone in the entire lake, is that?
Yep, that would be, and historically what we've done is we've had, I want to say 2 dive team, fire, police, Shrewsbury Police, Shrewsbury Fire, Worcester Fire are out there monitoring both ends of the lake, north and south, and then environmental police, and then the Shrewsbury Police as well. So kind of dividing the lake in half and each covering one section.
At least I don't have the
Do you want them?
permit in front of me. Is there a accommodation on there for a travel lane for,
There
the
is a
boats?
special condition, it's worded, a travel lane may be maintained for boats not associated with the race, traveling from Route 9 Bridge through the Corzine State Ramp at wake speed.
okay, but that doesn't cover the south part of the lake.
We can add one, if you would like that to be a part of your
Right.
motion.
I realize it's kind of more stuff for you guys to do. as far as maintaining that no one's tooling down the we gotta figure out
I
something.
would-
We're closing down the entire lake.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, I think if you needed a travel lane all the way down the lake, you would just continue. Right now, we've made accommodations on the Shrewsbury shore, again, from the Corzini to Route 9.
Mhm.
We do that in the spring to accommodate the racing there. I don't see it as problematic to have that go all the way down the lake, assuming the police were comfortable monitoring it, because that would be the direction of travel where the rowing shells would be traveling to the start. So they would be rowing at slow speeds, they're just getting warmed up. I think it would be problematic to have power boats on the Worcester shore, because at that stage you'd have crews racing.
Okay.
So we can certainly, however we want to write that in, I mean, I think that's something we could certainly accommodate.
Do you,
Mr. Chair, have we done no wake zones for that before, for that event?
I'm not, I believe so, but I can't tell you for certain.
I don't think we've done technically a no wake zone. I think it's kind of fallen with,
We've done it on the north end,
yeah.
for sure.
Correct, I'm just trying to think.
Well, I think for
feasibility-wise.
that event, the way it's run is we have such a big police emergency responder presence.
Right.
That if there's been power boat, I mean, it's later in the season too, so it's not to say it
Right.
wouldn't be a problem. But I think if there's been power boats out there, they've just been reminded that they can't wake I think state law is you can't wake a boat that's racing in a regatta or something. I forget how it's worded.
Where,
Comment, Peter?
What's that?
Comment?
I have a course map if
yeah.
you would like to see it.
Okay.
Does this
Does
go
it co-
past the Narrows, or is this the one that goes past the Narrows to
Yeah,
the
it goes
island?
all the way
Yeah,
down to,
Drake
basically the
Island.
Shrewsbury Bay.
Drake.
It's gonna turn around
Yeah.
Drake, or Eagle Island and
Yeah,
go back.
I remember doing this either last year or the year
Yep.
before.
Yeah.
It's-
This has been going on for a while, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
These head
Narrows
races-
were the tough
comment,
part.
Peter? These head races have been going on for the 16 years I've been
Yeah.
here. And the only problem I can see with this is the Narrows. There'll be crews going down on the Shrewsbury side to line up at the start point, because these head races are sequential. Every crew goes like 30 seconds or 15 seconds all morning long, and they're timed, and
Right.
the winners are determined by the time. They're not racing side by side. So it's a single line of boats coming north on the Worcester shore, and it's all of the boats going down to the starting line on the Shrewsbury shore. And there's no problem with a travel lane except going through the Narrows, because you already got two directions of eights going, and, well, fours as well, going through there. And so, with a little bit of police presence at the Narrows to control any sort of congestion of the boats trying to get south, there certainly could be a lane for other traffic on the lake.
And I would also add, just for safety, we do install a race course for these events, and that runs, essentially, it's every 100 meters, there's a large orange buoy that runs the full length of the course. So it defines the travel lane, so it creates that element of safety. All the people that are warming up know, stay on this side, everyone racing on this side, and in the Narrows, because that is, that's, obviously it's narrow, you've got boats racing with people trying to get through. We'll typically stage a U.S. rowing referee right on the, I guess that would be the north side of the Narrows. They would hold any crews that are heading to the start until all racing has gone through. And then we've also set up, in the midpoint of the Narrows, we take the buoy line that is typically marked every 100 meters turns to every 10 meters. So it forms a very solid, it's the same setup we use in the spring. It forms a very defined line that splits the Narrow, so it keeps it as safe as I think we can possibly make it.
Okay, and I'd want to accommodate, I don't know how everyone feels, but I would want to accommodate some type of travel from regular boats through Kings Point, through the Narrows. So maybe they, not just hold the crew boat, but, so other traffic can go through there.
Sure, yeah, no, I think that would be, again, we have a presence there, that kind of a gate master, if you will, to allow people through.
Okay.
So I don't see any reason.
We're
why-
going to include that in the permit,
Sure.
so it's in there, and then, that'll be how,
Yeah.
these guys do it to the,
No, I think that would be good, and I'm sure we've encountered that in the past, because I know.
I'm sure you have, but I
We've
also
just
know
never-
you've encountered some,
Yeah.
you have other kind of engagements.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we give approval for the snake race with the caveats that,
I got one more thing.
okay,
Are you gonna move any safety buoys? I.e., the no-wake buoy at Kings Point?
You know
or
what,
the-
last
or the,
year we did not,
Or the hazard buoy in front of, which is the one I'm really concerned about, the hazard buoy in front of Lake.
yeah,
Beach.
actually, I did the course last year, I've installed it. We didn't move anything last year, because they happened to be floating, like, in perfect alignment with where they actually enhanced our course. I do remember moving them a couple years, or at least one of them a couple years ago.
Right.
So I think what I would say is possibly, but then I would commit to putting it back at the end of racing where we found it.
All right. I remember one year someone ran aground there, and,
Yeah, no, I remember a couple of years ago, it did not get put back where it got, I
Right.
recall that, yeah.
okay. All right, sorry. No.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we give approval for the snake race with the caveats that recreational vessels can travel from Route 9 south to Drake Island on the Shrewsbury side at wake speed, and that if necessary, and it seems that it may be, that at Kings Point, or what otherwise referred to as the Narrows, that there's a police presence there to basically set some limits and/or direct vessel traffic so that people can pass at wake speed with the recreation vessels, as well as the racing participants be able to do their exercise through that area.
Second.
Okay,
So that, just to verify, just for the record, we're gonna approve it with the boat ramp closures, associated boat ramp closures, with the accommodation for a travel lane for recreational vehicles with support from law enforcement to help enable such.
that
Correct.
sounded like what he was
Yep.
saying.
And that's gonna be for both, correct?
What?
We have,
Yes, both those. We're only closing one ramp. We're closing Corzini, not Flint Pond. Any comments from,
Just clarification, we're not doing a no-wake zone for the entire lake, just the travel lane of the course, in regulation to the regular boating laws. And just logistically, it would be really tough to do the entirety of the lake, in my opinion.
Right.
do you wanna look at the ramp, or the,
It usually isn't a problem, watching,
no, I mean, I don't
mean,
think,
you-
I don't think it's bad. I don't remember, yeah, so,
I think one suggestion, I think this year, typically, we staff 2 on the boat for this.
Yeah.
If we can still continue this same 2, one can utilize the jet ski, which is much more maneuverable.
yeah,
In and around those areas, produces a lot less of a wake and can be visible with all the lights on at all time. That would be my suggestion. We could have the boat near the Narrows and the jet ski on the shorelines, just keeping people away.
that works.
okay,
Weather pending,
Jason?
obviously.
I think
That
that'll work.
seems reasonable to me, yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
okay.
That's
I
good.
hope it ain't cold.
That's why I said weather pending.
All right, so, so we moved and seconded, all in favor with the covenants,
Aye.
the motion?
Aye.
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 All right, so voted. Thanks,
Okay,
Jason.
thank you.
Yep,
Question?
yes.
The only race that was mentioned was the snake race. There's a second race with, I assume, exactly the same
For both,
conditions?
but yeah.
The Warren Town closure?
Just add, yeah, for both.
We just have to vote on them,
Separately?
Separately.
like, we can say so moved, same thing, but,
Okay,
We need a second
all
vote
right,
on the
thank
second
you.
Yeah.
race.
All right, I thought we were doing both, all right. You want to make another motion?
Yeah,
So,
no.
don't have to.
I believe I said both races, so.
Okay,
okay,
in
You
the
just say
motion.
both ra-
Yes, in the motion, I believe I did.
that's
All right.
fine,
all right,
works for me.
so we're good?
Good?
Yes, all right.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jason. All right. So discuss and possibly act on no wake markers at Witch Rock Island narrows on Round Pond, or Flint Pond, in between Flint and Round. Is everyone familiar with where Witch Rock is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Bill?
Huh?
The Witch Rock Island Narrows on Round Pond, have you ever been over there?
No.
Okay, so it's I meant to have some photographs, and we can push this off till next month if that's, would you rather have a better view of it? It's a narrow point,
Yeah.
narrower than Kings Point, not as well-traveled
Yeah, I've never been there. I've seen it
by
on
any
all
stretch of the
maps
imagination,
many
but
times.
there is literally a house with a beach right there, with a swimming area, I shouldn't say a beach, a swimming area, and they have one of the two boathouses that remain on Lake Quinsigamond. And, there's obstructed views going in both directions. There's been to my knowledge, well, I think there was an accident with a boat, that two jet skis collided over there somewhere this year. But they were kind of goofing around with each other.
That was early in the season.
What's that?
Early in the season. I
Yeah,
believe, yes.
yeah. So, but it's just I think a place that should be kind of tamped down. After you get around there, you're gonna go another 150, 200 feet, and you're gonna be at the no wake zone at the Route 20 bridge. So, but it's very, because of the vegetation there as well, that whole channel is very narrow to go through there.
Quite shallow, if I remember right, too.
Yes, it's all shallow over there. So, I don't know if you want to get more pictures and see what it's like, or you want to.
Depends on what
Ken, are
we're
you
gonna
familiar
vote
with
on.
that area?
Yep.
Mike?
I have no questions. I know exactly what you're talking about.
All right. So, do we want to take a motion, or?
I'll make a motion that we consider the installation of no wake markers at the Witch Rock Island Narrows on Round Pond. Or obviously, let me put it this way, for next season.
Yes.
I don't see where we should be rushing to put something in the water around October 1st.
Well, the skaters I'm concerned about.
Second the motion.
Okay. Any questions or comments? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so voted. Thank you. Discussion and possible act on the use of wake boats on Lake Quinsigamond. Okay, so I know there's some people here that are concerned about this. This is discussion, and I probably worded this incorrectly when I put it on here, but it was too late to change it. So I'm going to just modify my comments to more like discussions of wakes on Lake Quinsigamond and what's going on out there. As was mentioned earlier, we did have a boat, and it was swamped by, according to, I didn't see it, but according to witnesses, including in law enforcement, that, it was a wave that did it, or waves that did it. So this has been an issue all over the country with wakes, but I just want to point out that it's not necessarily just wake boats that do this. If you drive any boat down there and you're going 14 miles an hour, I don't care if you're in a 19-foot, stern drive, that's the biggest wake you're going to make at that kind of speed. That's just the way it is. The way wakes work, and this is true in a wake boat especially, is that it basically goes by weight. So, a boat could be 30-foot long, but if it's a 30-foot scull, it's not going to make, or a 30-foot crew boat, it's not going to make a big wake. If you're a 30-foot, cabin cruiser, you're going to make a big wake, especially at 13 or 14 miles an hour. My comment is really about accountability. I want people to have fun. I don't want to make a whole bunch of regulations where we can't do anything, and it's like, going to I used to lifeguard at a state swimming pool, so, you want to kind of let people have fun and enjoy what they're doing out there, and I'm all for that. But if, your wake, this is state law, if your wake causes damage to anything, to, erode the shore, personal property, hopefully not personal injury, but if swamps a boat, if it wrecks a dock that's set up properly, let me qualify that, then, you're responsible for that damage. It's literally the same as if you hit whatever you hit with your boat and not your wake. So that's the way it's basically viewed. So, I'm asking for people to have a awareness of that and a consciousness, because what I have seen out there, and I've witnessed this myself, is it just happens, and people just keep on driving by and like, I'm not looking back. I don't know what happened, so, and, this person with that boat that got swamped, and I also, while I'm on this, I want to thank the responders that went down there and got that thing out of there. They worked diligently. They helped prevent any more fluids going into the lake that had to go in there. They boomed it right away. I went down there and watched the operation, and these guys got that boat pumped out and floating again, in a pretty short time frame, relatively speaking. But it cost the owner of the boat a lot of money. He had to have the thing pumped out and rescued. His trailer was behind a locked fence at USA Marine, so he had to rent a trailer. They had to tow the boat out of there after it got to the land. So, for all these reasons, that's not fair to a guy who just had his boat parked reasonably secure at a dock in front of his home. And that's the issue I'm having with this, is that, you need to be aware of the wake you're making. I was out in my ski boat, and I'm guilty of the same thing sometimes. You just, you're riding slow at 14 miles an hour. You think you're just being safe and going down the road, but you look behind you, and my wake's big at 14. My boat's designed not to make a big wake at top speed, but when I'm just going slower, it makes a big wake. It's designed to do that too. So, and then you add on modifications, like weight, like ballast, it's gonna make even a bigger wake, and that's what some boats are designed to do. But I'm not just pointing out those guys, or those people. I just think that everyone should be aware of, one, the kind of wake you're making. If you're going by, I'll give you an example. If you're going by a narrow part of the lake, and there's people sitting out in the dock, this actually happened to me one day. I'm tooling along. This person's a friend of mine. I know this person. They're sitting on their dock, he and his wife, enjoying the day, lounged out. I drive by, waving. Yeah, when he kind of waves back, but he's kind of like not warmly waving back. And I turn around as I go by, and I look over there, and my wake goes over the top of that dock, washes their feet, and, starts to recede. So I'm like, oh, oops. And I went back and apologized. I actually go around the island. He's got an island in front of his house. I go around that every day now, so I don't go by his house like that. But so I'm asking people to be conscious of that, and to use good judgment. If you're close to shore, one, you shouldn't be pulling a skier, any closer than 150 feet from shore. I know Lake Quinsigamond's a very skinny lake, and this is a challenge for. And one of the reasons I think that boat was, the waves behave like they did is because it's so shallow, so skinny there. But, you should slow down. You see someone sitting on your dock, you should, probably slow down too, and not do something like that. So that's my take on it. Any other comments or discussions?
Mr. Chair, if I could just say, people have to show some more respect and consideration for others, and that it's not all about you, it's not all about me. I sadly, Mr. Chair, feel that this may be a kind of some slippage in society's mores, and we have to, pay attention to this so that we all can basically navigate, the lake and enjoy it, again, in consideration of the fact that we're sharing it with others. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion, questions?
Just, I guess, one sort of tangential thought that goes through my mind. I'm actually a little surprised and maybe even happy that we're back to talking about issues with wakes and bothering docks and problems that I remember we were discussing 5 or 6 years ago before we had nothing but jet ski problems. And the thought that's coming to my mind is the incredible job that law enforcement has done in the last year and a half in reducing the jet ski problem, that we're back to talking about the problems that we used to talk about before we had that jet ski problem.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Good. Okay, update on the lake management plan. So where we are right now is that, I guess, I don't know how to even explain this. We had kind of a paperwork failure going out of getting our bids out in time. So by the time the bids got out, nobody bid on the work because it was kind of late in the season, and everyone was saying by the time you get this done, you're not going to, it's not going to make any difference. So nothing got treated. The good news is, we have, we've done a weed map. We've done a lot of things we needed to do to set us up for next year. Moving forward, we're going to, our permit with MISA, which is the Natural Heritage folks, the Massachusetts Endangered Species folks from Fish and Wildlife, we need to redo that permit. So we're gonna work, Katie Lyman and I are gonna work to get that done. So another 5-year plan, which will cover all this and hit the ground running. Also, next year, my plan is to, get some part-time help, some hours. We increased hours in the budget this year, so we could work on that to have administrative help do this, because it's some of this stuff is beyond the scope of what Parks and Rec can do in Shrewsbury Town Hall. Not in any fault of their own, but it demands a certain expertise, so that they're not trained to do. Katie Lyman in the City of Worcester and Lakes and Ponds program has been extremely helpful. As much on the, there's a lot of talk about the law enforcement side and jet skis, but I'm going to give kudos to the city, especially Katie and her folks, for all of the work that they've done to make this lake a healthier place, and to set us up and to bring the knowledge and expertise we need to move this forward. So I'm looking forward to getting this plan done and the work around it so that we can continue to treat. The other good news with this is that we did get permission this year to do a dash treatment, which means they gave us the permission to do a dash treatment in Zone B. Except for the 2 years ago when we treated milfoil in Zone B with Prosilicor, which was an herbicide, we haven't treated anything in Zone B. And Zone B goes all the way from Kings Point to the south end of the lake proper, including Half Moon Cove and South Bay and all of that. So we'll be able to take care of growing issues in places like Half Moon and Old Faith Cove, which both have Vasei or habitats for Vasei in it. And also for treatments in Round Pond, which is, if anyone's been over there, I don't have to explain what the weed problem is over there, so which we haven't been able to treat, and now we will be able to do that. So that's all good news. And that's the update on that. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Chair, the update on the Lake Quinsigamond drawdown, when will that begin?
We had to renew those permits, which we did. That'll begin November 1st, on or about November 1st, depending on what day of the week that falls on. It's a Sunday. I don't think we're going to get
5
DCR
weeks.
to open the dam up. So that's going to go down, that'll go, we'll talk more about that next month, but
Weather permitting.
weather permitting. That's gonna go down, incrementally for a couple of weeks before we get to the bottom of it. We only draw the lake down 30 inches.
And if people who live on the lake notice, relative to the lack of rain, the lake is down about 4 inches maybe. It's supposed to rain coming up in the next few days, but it's been a while, and obviously the watershed is not adding much fluid to the lake as of the last month or so.
Okay, is that it? Any other questions, comments? All right. Update from Katie Lyman?
So Katie's not here today. My name's Alyssa. I'm gonna just give her updates that she gave me. First, for water quality, we have, water quality is continued to be higher than last year with our most recent Secchi depth readings between 11 and 13 feet. The water column is fully stratified with hypoxic, so low oxygen conditions, beginning at the thermocline at 20 feet. We're starting to see the impacts of the last few weeks with limited participation as Poor Farm Brook has not been flowing during their last two sampling, and the flow at Coal Mine Brook is very low. Going to lake management, Peter mentioned the effort, the plant mapping performed by TRC will inform the next heritage project plan. This effort should be sure to include the area north of Gauch Park, which was not included in previous plans. This is where the Lake Quinsig Watershed Association hosted their main water chestnut pulls this year. We believe there are milfoil in there as well. When the plant mapping results are available, they will confirm. They're eager to support the development of the next plan. We will do that over the winter. To support the commission, Lakes and Ponds requested the extension of the Worcester and Grafton order of conditions. Both municipal conservation commissions issued extensions through next September. When the plan is completed, they will do the next round of permits. New projects, sorry, she gave me a lot today. We are excited to announce new project planning, watershed-based plans to reduce nutrient pollution in 3 sub-watersheds in Worcester, including Lake Quinsigamond. The Lake Quinsigamond plan will include assessment of possible nutrient sources throughout the entire watershed, not just Worcester. This plan will lay a roadmap for addressing nutrient pollution over the next 10 years. We look forward to collaborating with the commission and with other communities and stakeholders in the watershed process. The request for proposals for the development of these plans is currently posted on the city website. We invite interested firms to submit bids by October 2nd. They're looking for projects to support with the deadline beginning of October. And then last one, stormwater BMPs. Lakes and Ponds program is spearheading a project to install a particle separator in the storm drain line at Suntag Road. Mr. Piker mentioned this one earlier, but which discharges into Half Moon Cove. This unit will remove trash, sediment, and some nutrients from the stormwater before it enters the lake. More details will be available soon. And that is what we have from Katie. She is on vacation, I believe, this week.
All right. Any questions about?
One question?
Sure.
Where they're installing that separator, what part of Worcester does it drain?
I do not have that offhand.
It's South Lake Ave.
South Lake Ave.
Yeah, so that's probably, well, it's right next to the neighborhood that the Wetler Drive pump station's
Right.
on. So it's coming down, Lake Ave. And I'm assuming that there's some of it, matter of fact, I know for a fact, some of it's coming down Massasoit Road underneath the railroad bridge.
Yeah, from the railroad track.
And Atlas Street.
Okay.
So, it's my understanding.
If I can, Mr. Chair, maybe I'm wrong in terms of not knowing my directions here, but stormwater drain on Suntag Road, which discharges into Half Moon Cove, it discharges into South Bay. It doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
does
I
not
meant-
Oh, did I say the wrong one?
into Half
Sorry.
Moon
Well,
Cove.
no, I think it was written in there, right?
That's sort of how it said. I'm just
It's
reading what's
in
written.
Half Moon Cove.
That's what it says right here.
Yep.
It's
Which-
not Half Moon Cove, it's South Bay.
Yeah.
South
Which-
Bay.
Which eventually goes into Half Moon Cove, but,
I just read what Katie left
Correct.
me.
yeah, okay.
I will update.
It goes in the lake, bad.
Okay.
Okay, I'm glad that they're doing that, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're really, you know,
Wonderful.
that's, again, the city has been incredible. Also, this year, you know, Katie had funds to contribute to our efforts. So
And
Good
we
to
have
see
a,
coordination and progress.
it really is, it's to see this coordinated effort.
and we have a few more weeks of cyanobacteria monitoring. We have a Saturday, and then we have two more days in October.
Great. I want to thank all the citizen scientists for helping out with that. Is there anyone from the watershed here today?
No.
No? All right, so I guess
I don't think Barbara, I also offered Barbara to send me an update, but I don't think she sent me one.
okay. I'll have words with her after.
Okay.
Emily. She's doing me, tonight she's doing us a favor because we're running late. Review correspondence, which I don't have any except for one Katie.
There's some correspondence in the
Oh,
back
is there?
of
Yeah,
our
there's-
packet,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Chair. Fellow from Lakeside Drive.
Oh, Marguerite,
We have Marguerite. We
Yeah.
also have,
you heard all that stuff?
Somebody from Igor Sorokin.
there's a weed problem over by, Flint Pond.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, this is my neighborhood over here. Igor was, you know, he's commented, and I know that those guys have lived there a long time. I've been there since 2002, that lived over there. I've been over there because the slalom course has been over there since the early 90s. This area has been kind of like this for a long time. This is why, this area right here, you can't really see this, but show you on TV. Oh, it's not
I can
putting
pull it
camera.
up. I can,
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So what I'm trying to say is that the weed problem we're having over there is you know, has a direct relationship to our flow issues coming out of Lake Quinsigamond. And this is why it's so important that we, not only do we not add anything more to that we clean out the stuff that we have in there already to improve that, because it's going to be critical to the lake. Thankfully, at this point, you know, on the east side, under the Route 20 bridge over there, you know, it's when we have a pretty healthy flow, but not good when we get to, as you can see over here. This summer's been kind of stagnant over there, so that's one of the reasons it's been looking that nasty, but not a place, you know, you can't really swim. This is someone's waterfront here, and I know, you know, because you keep hearing stories about, I knew some kids that lived down here and grew up with those guys, and yeah, you could swim over there, and it was, you know, back in the 70s, so the lake was a lot different. But that all said, the reason that we're experiencing these issues is because, you know, it's slowly getting choked by vegetation and other things, and things like the sediment going, you know, behind Sears Plaza. So that's why it's critical that you know, we manage that as best we can now, and not add any more to the problem, if we can do that. And meeting tonight. I'm ready for the Worcester Guardian.
I think
Yes,
that was it. For
Someone wants an interview. Okay,
We passed that one along.
all right. We'll set him up with Mr. Pike. Okay, good. That's it, right?
Next meeting date.
We have the next meeting, if you just want to go right into October.
Yep,
Sorry, I have to open the right tab.
the fourth Wednesday of the month, in
Yeah, it's going to be the 30th,
30th?
Wednesday, the 30th
Okay.
of October.
What's that?
The day before,
Day
the
before Halloween.
30th, not the 31st.
But Gary, you feel free to
Dress up.
come up in costume, okay?
I'll be on the beach in Florida.
Well, send us a picture.
We will send you the invite.
Okay. So, all right, with that said,
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
That's here, the meeting. It's here.
It'll be here, yes. They've already muted us.